Welcome to the podcast, Guidance with Gab. Learn and unlearn all things wellness. Welcome back to another episode of Guidance with Gab. Learn and unlearn all things wellness. This one pretty much has nothing to do with learning or unlearning anything wellness. I just think it's a funny topic, I guess. And that's what it was like being a yoga instructor in South Florida. I get questions a lot, and I think there's a lot of misinterpretations of what the experience is like, because yoga instructors have this persona. There's this expectation of how yoga instructors are and people in the community. And I want to start this off with the good stuff by saying that I've met so many amazing, cool, special people in the yoga world. There's so many cool people that are open-minded and have helped me through so many things based off of their mindsets and how they view life and their past experiences. But then you get to the business side of being a yoga instructor, and then you're just like, what the actual fuck is going on here? Because this is not what I expected. So I guess I'll start off with the classes and doing all of that, because that was amazing. Like, the feeling of teaching a class where people are new and they've never experienced something like what I'm giving them, what I'm able to provide, was so special. I worked at a gym and I had so many men come in that were these like big, buff, tough guys. And then they're in a pigeon pose, like feeling their feelings. And that was so special for me. Absolutely loved it. Having people cry in my classes because I'm talking about the inner child and they feel so connected and they're going through this like vulnerable experience on pretty much a gym floor. Like, I'm all for it. I absolutely loved it. The people that would come to the classes most of the time were just these beautiful souls that we created such an amazing community, and I absolutely loved it. I worked at a few other places as well, and the vibes like during a class are just unmatched, truly. Especially if you get the vibes right, you got the lights on, the music, everyone is in their feelings, you're slow, you feel everyone feeling it. Amazing. 10 out of 10. I miss teaching yoga and I loved it so much, and hopefully I get to do it again soon. But then there's the business side, which I thought everyone was still going to be love and light, but that is not true at all. I've had some wild experiences and I feel like they're worth sharing, again, because there's this image of yoga instructors that gets thrown away when business gets involved. And then there's also the whole issue, which I don't want to get too much into, but the issue of what yoga means in modern world, I guess you can say. It's very workout based, and that's not the kind of yoga that I teach. I don't like doing workout yoga. I like teaching with the emotion and the feeling, because at the end of the day, yoga was invented, whether it is like a fast-paced or slow, it is meant to prep your body for meditation. And I personally like the more spiritual aspects of yoga and the releasing of emotions and getting into all of those kind of things. But in America, they put a lot of emphasis, not all of America, again, just a lot of the places that I've been to for jobs and things like that, it's seen as a workout. I've been to yoga classes literally where I have not heard the instructor tell me about my breath once. Like, breathing is such a big part of yoga, and I'm not blaming the instructor. Maybe there's a difference in training and also what is expected of them at these places. And I like being with my breath when I'm at yoga because that's such a big point of it. But I'm getting off topic. Let me get back to my pretty much main situation, which is like the business end of it. If this scene looks different, it's because only 5 minutes of the video were recorded and then construction started upstairs. If you saw me on Instagram, this is the video I was talking about. And there might be some noise upstairs still, but I'm going to hopefully be able to denoise it. And I came back when I thought they might be leaving for lunch. So let's return to the scheduled programming. So as I was saying, business and yoga. What a crazy mashup. So, my experiences have been very funny. And again, I just want to make sure that it's very clear that I'm not shaming any yoga instructors. I'm not shaming any of the classes that I went to. I'm just saying and speaking from my personal experience. So, one story that I think really embodies pretty much everything that I'm talking about here is when I went for an audition. So, an audition for yoga instructor is pretty much I keep going to say application, but it's not application, the interview. And so during the process, you pretty much go and teach a yoga class. Sometimes there are people there that you're actually teaching, like maybe some of the other instructors, maybe the manager, something like that. But in this case, it was just a huge room. Like I walk in and this is the biggest yoga room that I've ever seen. And it's one lady who is the owner. And I've never taught with like a mic pouch before. So I had like the mic thing, the little, I don't know, little holder thing that it has. And it just feels a little bit out of my element, I would say. And there's also no people there. Like I'm teaching a huge and empty room. And she didn't want me to use a mat. She wanted me to just walk around and do the cues and teach a class as if there were people there. For me, one of my favorite parts of teaching is being in a class with people that I can intuitively pick up what the vibes are and like what they need. So if I'm feeling like, some people here need to let go of some stuff, I'll cater the class to letting go and just picking up the vibes and then giving it back. So it is a little weird doing it without anyone there because you're just pretending people are in this space, which again, that's fine. And I also was used to doing a mix up of both where I would teach on the mat and then also get up, instruct, cue, adjust, all those things. But this was just like unexpected and weird and whatever. So I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna take it on the chin. I'm gonna do it. So I start walking around this giant empty room with just me and her. And I would say maybe like a minute in, she stops me and she goes, if I walked in this room and I was here to take your class, I would have left. Your voice is so annoying. And I did not know what to say. What do you say to that when someone says your voice is annoying? It's a weird situation to be in. So I kind of was like, oh, okay, like, should I try again? Like as if my voice is gonna change. She's like, yeah, let's run it again. I'm like, okay. So I kind of try to alter my voice. She stops me again and she's like, it sounds like you're singing. Like, what are you trying to sing? I'm like, I'm not trying to sing. I'm just teaching how I normally would teach. And one of the things, obviously, this is not my yoga teaching voice. My yoga teaching voice is very soft and soothing and slow. And we're going to take a breath, let it go. It's very more soothing. Maybe that wasn't the best because I haven't taught in a bit, but it's a lot more soothing. So hearing that, I was kind of in shock. We continue. And then she stops me and she's just like, I don't know, like it just sounds like your voice just sounds really bad. But the thing is, you have the look for it. You know, like you're young, you're fit, you got the outfit going. I could make this work. So it seemed like she wanted to almost like groom me into her like type of person, which is like weird. And one of the things that stuck out to me was she said, you're being more like up here with it. Like I need you to be direct. Yoga is a sport, which then I'm like, yoga is not a sport, at least for me. Yoga is like a spiritual practice, but okay. She said, instead of the voice that you're doing now, I need you to be more like, let's go yogis, come on, push through, you got this, go do it. Very like fitness instructor-y. And I've been a fitness instructor. I've done those classes and I know how to motivate people in that form. But I think people are pushing themselves so hard in life in general. Like, they're going to hard workouts, especially South Florida. Like, they're probably eating a very strict diet and they're probably working really hard. Like, they're doing all these things. Like, I want someone to come to my yoga class and feel safe. I want them to feel like, oh my God, I can finally let go. Something I preach in my yoga classes is listening to your body. And me yelling, let's go, yogis, push your body, is not very listen to your body-esque. So at this point, I'm like realizing, like, oh, maybe this is not a match. But of course, in any situation like that, it's just weird. It's hard to just kind of walk away, especially when you're processing everything. I was bamboozled. I truly was not expecting to be criticized and called out as harshly as I was. And the conversations that were happening, especially from like the owner of a yoga studio, I didn't know that we were going to be this intense in the physical pushing part. That was quite a crazy experience. It kind of left off on a weird note, and she said she would be open to like teaching me her ways, which red flag. I left, and then the next day I called her and just said I don't think it's a good fit. I definitely needed the time to just process what the heck just happened and decide for myself, okay, like, make a decision that's aligned with you and your morals and your values, and you don't need to conform. There's some other crazy situations that maybe it's not so crazy to like normal people, but to me as an instructor feel very off. And one of the things is that a lot of the yoga studios in Florida, at least, and again, not all of them, but some of them, most of them, are owned by people who are not yoga instructors. So they're owned by business people, which get your money, but that causes such a imbalance between the people that are showing up to work and also take the classes and then the business people running it. They definitely don't understand a lot of our needs, and a lot of the places have rules of what you can say and what you can't say in regards to talking about universe, spirituality, themes. It's very, you need to keep it at an arm's length, arm's distance, whatever. And again, there's different types of yoga, so that's fine. But for me, it just feels very weird to go teach a yoga class, which is such a spiritual practice, pouring from the heart, but then have to keep filtering based off of what a businessman is telling me what I can and cannot say. Just feels a little weird to me. And something else that I've noticed as well, and what I've heard from other people and what I've known firsthand, is a lot of the yoga studios have rules of and restrictions, I guess, in regard to warm-ups and cool down. So one of the most fun parts of teaching yoga is, like I said before, being able to intuitively pick up the vibes of the room and figure out, like, what are we all going to go through together today? It's such a warm, collective experience, especially when you can pick those things up. And it's also so fun being a yoga instructor in the sense of being able to create, to have every class be a little different, to throw in these, ooh, we're going to do this today. Ooh, I know these people in this class really like this, so I want to make sure to include it. And a lot of the classes that are in like the big mainstream studios have very conform regulations of what the warm-up needs to look like and the cool down, and then a little bit of freedom in between, but there are still regulations even within that. And for me, as the teacher speaking from my perspective, it does hurt the creative process and the intuitive process that goes behind teaching a class. I understand that it is different in America and not in maybe the most traditional way, that like you do need to be a little bit more mindful of the people in the class. Everyone has a different religion. Everyone has different beliefs. It is so authentic and pure and beautiful in this like raw experience when you are truly in it. And this feels like the airbrushed version, I guess. You're tiptoeing around certain topics, jumping around what really needs to be said because you're too afraid to say anything too much. People are meant to be extremely vulnerable in a class if they're comfortable, obviously. But that's how you get to the root of it. That's how you actually transform through yoga, because you're going through emotions, you're feeling, you're breathing deep, you're letting go, you're in these different shapes and forms. It's so beautiful and I love it. And that's why I have a hard time knowing the business aspect. I also think there's a lot of expectations for yoga instructors and people in the business to be very like love and light, but a lot of time you're getting told some very not nice stuff, but like love and light, they're saying something really not nice or not cool, but like they say it like this with a smile, so how could you be mad? There's a lot of that energy that I feel like goes around also, which makes it weird because you can't, like, I know what you're saying. You know what you're saying, but you're saying it in such a way where I can't particularly call you out and we can't have like an adult discussion because you're covering it up with this love and light, which doesn't really sit well either with me. I'm not just trying to shit on yoga studios and stuff. I'm just trying to share like my full experience. I've also talked about the good. I'll jump back to that as well, but this is the truth of it. And there are just, at least from my end, what I expected and what I hear from other people, what they think the world is like. And it is in a sense like any other business. But a note to all of my fellow yoga instructors: I want you to remember that you don't need to compromise your own morals, your values, your true beliefs, your intuitive practice because of a business. And you will find your home, you will find your people, you will find your tribe, just like I have. I have found my places where I can work and be so authentically me. I found the students that value me and my practice and they respect their own practice. I found other yoga instructors that embody exactly the true belief of yoga, the true essence of yoga. So don't forget that when you're going into these experiences, you don't need to change or alter yourself for anyone else. Of course, if you want to adapt, do it, try it out, see what works for you. I've tried it, didn't fit, but if you try it and it fits, then please do you. But I just want the reminder to be there that you don't need to change for anyone. And the world is a tricky business, but keep your head up, keep being so authentically you. And as a student, if you're listening, a student of yoga, practicer, just keep showing up open-minded and with so much bliss and excitement for the practice, whether you're at a big mainstream studio or at a small one. It only matters how you show up and the mindset in which you show up with. I think maybe I hold some resentment towards how it has been displayed and transformed, especially through the eyes of business. If you like this episode, then please let me know. If you didn't, again, I don't really like to hear it, but I guess you could let me know. I just thought it would be fun because this is me just talking as if I was talking to my friends, telling a story, and that's how I want to show up more, as an essence of authenticity and just being myself. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it.